In case you missed it, Blackmagic announced loads of new gear yesterday, from the Web Presenter 4K, lots of new HyperDeck models, and some new camera options too. Now I've had a day to think about it, digest it, and even rewatch the whole video, and I've pulled out 5 things that you might have missed or that I'm really excited about from that announcement. So here we go. First up is a small one, but I think a really nice one, the dark mode menu options on a few of their devices. Hoping to see this in lots of other devices too, but it does mean that in dark environments you can fiddle through their menus and not be blinded by that really bright LCD screen. So small, but really nice. Next up is the new Web Presenter model. This is the Web Presenter 4K. Now I just took a look at the HD version not that long ago here on the channel, so you can check out that video. And this one is pretty similar to that, but with 4K. So you can now stream in 4K, which is nice. One of the cool things about it though is if you have a HD source coming into it, it will upscale that to Ultra HD and then stream that. So that'll be really nice to see how that looks and how well the 4K stream actually runs. For my use cases, I'm really happy with the HD version that I have, but I'm interested in giving this one a go just to see how well it looks. I'm also quite interested in this new HyperDeck Studio HD Mini, which is sort of the entry level of the HyperDeck range. I personally have the HyperDeck Studio Mini, which will work pretty well for my use cases, but one of the things that are interesting about this new entry level model is they removed the key fill output on SDI. So it's a sort of pitching itself into a certain market, but it has lots of new features like the external disk over USB and loads of things that are really interesting. A really nice addition to the upper end HyperDecks is the new steel search dial. This is really useful for feedback while you're running through the menus and jogging through clips, but specifically what I'm interested in is when you get to the bottom of a menu, it will stop at the bottom. Many times I've scrolled through the menu up and down trying to find a setting, so this is a nice little addition to have, and I'm really excited to try that. We also got a couple of new cameras as well, the Studio 4K Plus and 4K Pro. It turns out the two are pretty similar, but for the lower end model, they've removed a few of the Pro features or expensive features, as they said. So the XLR is not there, the SDI is not there, and the Ethernet port is not there. Interestingly though, there's only a $500 price gap between the two, so I'm thinking it might make sense for most use cases to just save that extra money and go for the Pro model. So you do get that future-proof, you get the nice XLR inputs, SDI, Ethernet, and I think it'll be a better choice for many use cases. Here in the tiny studio though, I really want to try the 4K Plus model. I think it'll fit nicely in here and I can test it out and see how well it works. And for me, the HDMI would work perfectly fine, so I'm going to go with that. And speaking of nice improvements, one of the things I really want to try in the future is that one cable control of camera, video, back and forth, all over one Ethernet cable. They've got this new rack mountable Blackmagic Studio Converter box, which lets you send all that good stuff over one cable. And it's sort of like a fiber workflow without needing the fiber cables. So you can do all this over Ethernet cables. Something they really pointed out on the release video was that if you change the camera from 4K into HD mode, then now you're using 1 gig Ethernet. And you probably get away with a lot longer runs, as well as using cables that are already installed in certain buildings and on-site. So it's a pretty nice workflow. I'm excited to try that in the future. So I really blazed through a lot of things there in a short amount of time, but what I'm keen to do is get the products in the studio here and really test. Before I give a really in-depth look at them, I just wanted to give you a glance of some things I really thought were worth pointing out. I am going to try and get all these things in the studio here to test out, but what I want from you is to let me know what you want to see first. Should I go Web Presenter 4K and test that against the HD version? Should I go all out and get the cameras and see how well they work? Or what should I do? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.